Welcome to the Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Thank you for being here with us today. Another day, and we are back again with another stream. We are talking about Richard Heart this week. How's everybody doing? GN, good night. Good morning. Depends on where you are, right? Everybody in this community is pretty global. Everybody's all over the place, so I don't really know where you are. Good morning, good night, wherever you are. Welcome in to the stream. Here we are on the 4-hour BTC chart, right? What's going on in this chat? Shout out to Sagar Kumar. Says HEX equals $1. All right, I sure hope so. I own a little bit of it. I would definitely take that. Melissa, welcome in. Camsta says, Ayo, welcome in, Camsta. We got J-Dub says, what's up, guys? I'm glad that you're back. J-Dub's been coming quite a bit. He might be our newest regular member here. So what do I want to talk to you guys about? Well, yesterday we examined why Richard Heart remains one of the most controversial founders in crypto, right? Tonight we're going to separate the founder from the product and test one of the biggest statements on his own merits. Okay, so this is going to be a fun stream. The official HEX website doesn't merely say HEX is different from Bitcoin, right? That would be a very not so controversial topic. It says HEX is better than Bitcoin, and that's where shots are fired. That is an extraordinary claim. Most people would argue, but it immediately becomes very tribal. One side talks about Bitcoin's history and its security. The other talks about HEX yield, time locking, and price performance. They're often answering completely different questions, though. Are they having the same conversation when we try to compare apples and oranges? So tonight, we're starting with the question that should come before every crypto comparison. Better at what? Like when we say, when they say HEX is better than Bitcoin, or other people say Bitcoin is better than any other coin, what are we saying that it's actually better at? Better at being decentralized, better at being fast, right? Better cryptography, better security, better yield. What are we talking about? What is it better at? Or are we just saying all around it's just better at everything, right? I put my entire saving in HEX around, I think you might have missed a zero there because that would only be like $1,000, but I think he means $1 million. So I hope you get it. Just depends on your definition of better, says J-Dub. That's exactly what I'm getting at here. I'm glad that you're following along. We'll compare HEX and Bitcoin across 6 categories, right? Security, monetary policy, yield, decentralization, liquidity, and adoption, and the risks users actually carry by holding it. This is not about deciding what you should buy. It's not financial advice. I would never give you that. It's about learning how to evaluate a founder's claim without allowing the founder or our feelings about him to answer any of the questions for us. 2 developments give tonight's comparison additional relevance, right? Bitcoin's estimated network hash rate is approximately 827 EH. Today, although real-time estimates fluctuate, right? That's just a rough number. And it's probably an odd valuation EH for most people. That represents an enormous computing resource committed to securing the Bitcoin transaction. So what you really need to know about that 827 EH is that is representing a large amount of computing resources that are all committed to mining Bitcoin. But what is mining Bitcoin? It's securing Bitcoin's transaction history. It gives us something measurable to compare against the phrase proof of weight, right? If you know what I'm talking about. So the Clarity Act was not downvoted. We've been over this. The Senate left for recess. Just want to recap on that. There's a lot of people taking victory laps on that one. I don't really understand it, to be completely honest with you. I don't know why they're going so hard on this victory lap that they killed the Clarity Bill. And I'm not claiming to know every little thing that's in it. They take things out of it. They put new amendments in it. I don't even know what it looks like at this point. It changes. But they went on recess. They took a vacation. They took a scheduled break. They did not kill the bill. But what you may not know is HEX is not an independent blockchain. It's a smart contract token operating on Ethereum and Pulse Chain. The underlying blockchain, not the HEX time locking mechanism, orders transactions, right, and protects the ledger. Proof of weight is not a blockchain consensus mechanism. It does not select validators or produce blocks, stop double spending attacks, or make transaction history expensive to rewrite. HEX official comparison page openly acknowledges that HEX does not secure its own network and relies on pulse chain validators. That distinction is central in tonight's debate. HEX maximum inflation is approximately 3.69. I know you guys have heard this before, and it can produce a much higher token denominated APY for participants because newly issued HEX is concentrated among the portion of supply that is time locked. Bitcoin's energy consumption and HEX time locking rewards are just two methods of performing the same job. Bitcoin mining secures a base network. HEX locking manages token issuance inside the application. And the official HEX comparison, you may not know this page, still references a Bitcoin block reward of 6.25. The current subsidy, of course, is 3.125 BTC before transaction fees. This is why marketing comparison pages must always be date checked, right? You got to make sure you got good dates because it hasn't updated since the halving, apparently. Welcome in. Let's kick this off. I'm glad everybody enjoyed the intro. What do we got going on here? Oh, sir, you suggested me about Lab. I purchased 5,000 Lab and sold them at $20 per coin. Let's go. I'm so glad to hear that. Well done, well done. And I think I made that video when Lab was like, I don't know, it was like 7 cents or 70 cents, one or the other, but it definitely was way before everybody else got into it. So let me make it so you can see what I see here. Those crypto bubbles. That's what I want to show you guys right now. And you know what? Now that you say that, Kumar, I remember your name. Like, I remember your name on YouTube now. The mining of HEX is way better, in my opinion. Just mine with what you buy versus hardware. Yeah, I totally understand that concept. In India, it's very rare to buy crypto. Okay, I definitely have a few people who've come and gone and are somewhat still around in this community who are from India. So I've learned quite a bit about the dynamic of money there, but of course in relation to US dollar and how people try to hedge against, what's going on in their money markets. And then of course, getting in and out of crypto. A lot of times you need a good on and off ramp that's outside of the country. Like one guy, I believe he said that his girlfriend lives in like the Philippines or Thailand or something like that. And so he goes over there and he has, he's able to buy it and get in and out of crypto way easier through that. Anyways, 1 through 100 and 1 through 1,000. Not a lot of numbers. I mean, 9 through 1,000, not a lot of percentage up and down, right? Pretty flat. 900 to 1,000, 3.9%. That's the biggest percentage in our 1 through 1,000 here. Let's take a look here. So we got Injective 6.1, Curve 4%, BTW 4.5%, Dogecoin 3.5, and Link 5.4 to the upside. It's not that big, but it is nice to see a little green. Of course, we have some red. Can't ignore that. We got BDX, Belladex, XMR, Monero, AVAX, ICP, all with a little bit of a dip here. Looks like XMR the biggest in this 1 through 100. Let's drop down a little more. 100 to 200 though, beat falling out of the top 100, and it's down 28%. Don't make the joke that it got beat down. All right, I've done that too many times. Hollow's up 24.5, call it 25% basically. Hollow's interesting. Velvet coming back with a vengeance, 38.7%. Looks great on the daily, but let's go check that thing on the weekly. Wow, that looks good on the weekly. Let's go to the monthly. Looks good on the monthly, even though on the monthly it's only a 13% because it had a lot of dip, right? All right, I could over-explain that. I'm not going to do that. Let's drop down another 100 here. Let's check it out. See what's going on here. Can XMR surpass BTC? I don't think so. Not in market cap. You know, when you say surpass, do you mean in price or do you mean in market cap? Those are two totally different things, right? One could, it's all tokenomics. Hopefully you understand tokenomics. Tokenomics can be set in a manner where the price of a coin can go up higher than another coin and have less money actually in the project, in the market cap. Tutorial down 32%. They treated it like a meme coin. Talus Network 13.6% to the downside. Sky AI, we saw pump earlier this week, down 18%. And Cap is our bigger winner here. It is up 26.4%. Aikido and Derive, and let's see, a few others that we recognize here. Nothing crazy. Let's go ahead and do our price rundown. Moving right along. In price, okay. I'd have to compare the tokenomics. Let's take a quick look for you, because you're here and you're asking questions I'd love to answer. In dark market places, XMR is a better choice than Bitcoin. I do understand your point there, right? When, for whatever reason, good or bad, XMR, when you're using it for what it's meant to be used for, privacy. Okay, well, XMR has an infinite max supply, so that makes it really difficult to really calculate like far out into the future. But we'll use its circulating supply of 18.7 million and then what, maybe assume like 20 million in the future. I don't know how fast this stuff is issued. And it only has 7 billion in market cap. It's already $375 in price. Well, there is this website that we could go to and look at. Maybe I'll bring that back up. Maybe you can remind me later. As of right now, I'm going to say no, that XMR can't go as high as Bitcoin, because what Bitcoin has over Monero is the max supply, only 21 million. This one's already at 18.7 million, so that actually makes them relatively comparable. Like, there's not that many million off, and Monero can just keep printing supply. I don't know what they're set up to do. Like, I don't know how often they issue more supply, but that is very problematic moving forward, especially when you start getting out multiple years. When we start going not 1 or 2 years, but 4 or 5 or 6 or 10, then it becomes a much bigger deal. Tau is having a nice push today. All right. Glad to hear that. That is why Bitcoin become popular. Yeah, in the first place. Yep. Oh yeah, Silk Road, all of that jazz. Finish that coffee and we are lit. Let's go. Bitcoin, $63,680. It's only down 1% in the last 7 days, 0.6% in the 24 hours. Not so bad. Overall market cap, 2.27 trillion, basically flat. It is 0.0% in movement in the last 24 hours. Ethereum, $1,881. BNB, $616. Love to see BNB back over $600. XRP still holding $1 with some vengeance. That I love to see. If you bought this in the bottom of the last bear market, 20 to 25 cents, you're still up a decent bit, right? Solana, $76.22. Hyperliquid, $54.54. Dogecoin, above 7 cents again. This is good. Zcash, $482. XMR, $375. XMR is up 7%. Zcash is down 5%. Take notes. Cardano, 18.5 cents, coming down off of that high at 20 cents. Chainlink, $8.76. XLM Stella sitting at 16 cents. Canton Network, 10 cents. Ooh, Canton Network getting a little bit of a pop. I was hoping to get it at 8 cents. I don't know why. I really have that 8 cent level marked in my mind here. Graham, or we used to call it Toncoin, $1.34. Down 4% in the last 7 days, though. Hedera is 6 cents. Moving apart. The Dogecoin and Hedera had been very close in price for a while. I see them moving apart a little bit. SWE at 69 cents. Still under $1, I think, is good for SWE. Avalanche, $6.29. And we always want to take a look at that meme core here, $8.13. And just, we haven't done this in a long time. Let's go look at Flare. Still in the top 100. Okay, good. Glad to see that Flare is still in the top 100. We got to check for that every once in a while. Okay, we have answered the chat here. Dog Bull. Very interesting. Dog Bull. We will check that out. I'm sure it's a meme coin, but it's at 76 million. How much you want to bet that Dog Bull is a Robinhood coin? Let's go look. Look at that. It is a Robinhood coin. Interesting. I think most Robinhood stuff is over on Pawns launch pad there. All right, so here's what's trending. Of course, Dog Bull. It's already at 76 million, way too high for me to touch. Think about it. You get in at 76 million, it's got to go to like a double 100 and what does that be, like 140, 152 million? I wasn't going to do the math, but I guess I will. Put myself on the spot there. 152 million, right, in market cap? I'm good on that. Where is it going to get the other 76 million? Don't get me wrong. These coins can just do ridiculous numbers. They go to $1 billion sometimes. So, like, don't get me wrong. They can go crazy numbers, but I don't know that I like that kind of risk. XRP, Solana. Pudgy Penguin, Pawns. We just talked about being a Robinhood launch pad. Seems to be doing pretty well. It's trending. Sysic. Think resources for AI. Stockbroker is a meme, but it's all about having some real ownership and some real stake in, I guess, the meme. It's an interesting concept that I probably need to sit down with a little bit more to make sure I got it hashed out as well as I could. Hollow having a huge pump today. Let's take a look at that. So really, Hollow World is down like 80% from its all-time token generation event, TGE token generation event. September 10th, 2025. Feels like ancient history. But in reality, was not all that long ago, right? Gotta make sure I keep an eye on some things here. All right, cool. So, what is it? What is Hollow World? Well, it's got a BNB contract, Solana contract, AI artificial intelligence, AI agent launch pad. Why are they getting attention now? Let's take a look. Oh, it wants to access other things on my device? Yeah, no thank you. So it's about creating AI agents. I'm not big on it. I've looked at it before. We're going to move along there. I don't like how it's trying to access other things on my devices when I go to their website, so I'm going to stay away from that. Giggle getting a little bit of a bounce this week, 15%. Pump.com or pump.fun. It's hard not to say .com there. Convex Finance, KDOM, Polmatic. All right, let's get to crypto rank. I want to see what that fear and greed index looks like today. 27. Okay, what was it? 31 yesterday? No, it was 29 yesterday. I think it was 31 the day before that. Still in fear. Just regular old everyday fear. Not extreme fear. And I think that's a cool place to sit for a while, to be honest. Just to range inside this fear and not spend many days back in extreme fear could be a good look. But you kind of want to load up slowly versus just every pump being this monumental huge candle, because it comes down so fast. And after, you compound that for a couple of weeks, you realize we're really not moving anywhere. We're just going up really fast and down really fast. That's not what we want to see here in this market. Make this top 20, not top 10. And let's take a look at what is trending over on Crypto Rank. But before we even do that, let's introduce our topic of the day here. The problem. We always start with what the problem is, right? The problem is the statement that Richard Hart made and breaking it down. This is the way I have it set up. I'm not actually saying this is a problem, but what I'm really saying is this is the meat of the matter. This is what everybody is concerned about as far as the topic. Richard Hart's statement, HEX is better than Bitcoin, compresses several very different questions into one powerful marketing claim. Supporters may point to HEX rewards, reduced direct energy usage. That's a big point for the supporters. And program time locking. Critics may point to Bitcoin's security, decentralization, liquidity, and history. Without defining better, both sides can sound correct while never actually addressing one another and never really actually talking about the same thing, right? Instead of choosing a side first, divide the claim into measurable categories. What is each designed to do? Where does the security come from? How is new supply created? Where do the rewards come from? This is all stuff we're going to be getting into today. How independent is it from the founder or the organization? Can users enter and exit through deep, reliable markets? Once the categories are separated, the strengths and trade-offs become much more clear. Think about this. We don't really officially have Bitcoin's founder, quote unquote, in the spotlight, and HEX does. That's a very stark difference for those two projects right off the bat. Now, the payoff here is viewers do not have to believe HEX is useless to reject the claim that it replaces Bitcoin. We don't have to be black and white. We can have shades of gray. We can understand things in nuance. They also do not have to believe HEX replaces Bitcoin to recognize that its program time locking system offers something that Bitcoin does not provide natively. The payoff is a more precise conclusion. HEX may outperform Bitcoin at a particular behavior without being better version of Bitcoin entire monetary network. Better must have a definition, and that is where we are going to pick back up here in just a second. Let me check that chat. All right, John 316 in the house. Nice. Says, hey brother, I feel so much better that I just do BTC. I am 54 years old, and the stress would kill me in speculative meme coins. Well, salute to you being 54 years old and owning some Bitcoin, because a lot of people who are 54, they don't own any. They don't own no BTC. And it's going to matter, I think, the more that time goes on. He says, smash that like button. I second that. And a link to our free Discord in the chat if you've never joined that, where we hang out when we are not live streaming. Melissa wants to know if you're still in hype, Campsta. And, yeah, you would really not like the trenches. You would not like pump.fun. That would be heavily stressful. So what do we have trending over on Crypto Rank? Again, thank you all the undergrounders for being here. I'm glad to see this community grow. It's been growing. We've had more people returning, and a bigger variety of people who came in at different times for different reasons. Kind of the compounding power of raising that crypto IQ. Let's go. Let's see what's trending over on Crypto Rank. We got Raven Coin, popular mining coin for a long time. I'm not much of a miner. There are so many facets and categories in crypto. Mining is one. I've watched a lot of people who are in it talk about it. I've never actually done it. So that does lead a little bit of an experience gap. So when I talk about Raven Coin, I'm just using surface knowledge that I know it's a mining coin and things. But you should recognize it and know what it is, because when it's trending, maybe there's something going on with mining that coin or something associated with it in general. So it's 8.5 years old. Atleta Network, such a weird word. Atleta Network is a modular multi-layer blockchain network modernizing the sport industry. I don't know how they're doing that. We got Meme Book, which is in a funding round, which something with a name like Meme Book being in a funding round is very interesting. I wonder if it's a launch pad. River Markets, Trade Zero. We're going to come back and take a look at all of those in just a minute. We got Cyber, USDS, another stable coin. DApp operating system. We were looking at this yesterday. We'll touch on that again. XST, Curve DAO, Audiera, or Beat, which has gotten, don't say it got beat down. I'm tired of that joke. It got knocked down a level here. It's down 30%, but it's always up and down and up and down. A lot of volatility in that coin. We got United Stables. Wonder what that could be. Creeps is an interesting project. We'll check that out again. That one's, at least it's kind of fun, but it's in a funding round. Velvet Capital, Real Finance, Just, Kai Chain, We looked at that the other day. Baby Dogecoin, RSK Infrastructure Framework, and USDC. This is what is trending. We have quite a few things to look at today. Let's start with MemeBook, because hopefully that's a fun one. Token-gated Web3 social media. All right, so I see where we're going here. And intelligent research community built on Solana. Definitely a couple of things to think and say here. The first one is that I think Solana is the right choice for a network to do social media because of the whole pump.fun and meme coins and all of those things. They always get me with these. It drives me nuts, these pop-ups. All right, but I'm not paying for it. That's crypto rank. What was I saying? I think it's the right place for a social media. That's what I was trying to say, because if you look at pump.fun and all those things, all that stuff is very much dependent on what's going on Twitter and stuff like that. So it just makes sense to integrate that into Solana. The more I think about it, yeah, I haven't really sat down and thought about it in a long time. I don't know if there's a better place to do a real social media than Solana. The people are already very geared for it over there. Whoa, the coin is pumping. Let's go. Is that somebody texting me? If you're in Kitty, it is pumping. That's for my trenchers out there. I gotta see what did I get in at? All right, we're almost to a double up here. So MemeBook is a creator-first Web3 social media platform and intelligent investment research community built specifically for the Solana ecosystem. What I want to say here, of course, is nobody has nailed this social media, this decentralized social media. We've had quite a few people try. I don't think any of them were all that good, to be honest with you. My favorite one was MemeX, and I just think that they're struggling a lot to keep relevance and keep excitement, right? So keep that in mind. Somebody's going to get it. Somebody's going to get it. Somebody's going to win. And it's probably going to be the first already large social media to integrate is going to be the one who wins. Probably not like a brand new social media. We got River Markets. Let's make sure I'm checking that chat. Wow, a lot going on in the chat. Yeah, I have hype long going now. Free trade, stop loss move to break even. Well done, well done. Gonna see what I can do. No idea when to close. Just keep scooting the break. Right now you have your stop loss at break even. What I like to do is just keep moving it up, right? Move it up into like 10%. If it keeps pumping, move it up into like 20%. I like to move to 5 to 10% at a time. Because you will round trip it at some point unless you caught the perfect bottom of the market. Kumar says, if you like it, do more. There you go. Camsta says, what you've been trading, Melissa? Nothing right now, just DCAing some coins and trenching. Exactly. Speaking of trenching, Melissa, Kitty is pumping. All right, so River Markets, 8.5 million. Prime brokerage and execution platform for institutional prediction market traders. So you got prediction markets now in the big leagues of institutional money. Sounds like absolute treachery, but it is what it is. They'll hire people who are just like legit geniuses at whatever it is. Like maybe you're just a baseball, sports genius. Like memorized all of it, understand the game down to a T, you've done all the history, and you just live and breathe baseball. They'll hire that guy, and they'll hire somebody like that from like every sport. They'll hire multiple people like that from every sport, and when they make their bets, they're going to be extremely well calculated. Not like you at home on your phone hitting buttons, just placing a parlay. All right, we got Coinbase behind this River Market. Makes a lot of sense. I am surprised they only raised $8.5 million so far. Let's see. It's the 11th is the seed round. Doesn't look like it's multiple day. Maybe they'll raise more money before this thing is over. Anyways, let's move on. Prediction market, but it's more for institutions. Let's go to Trade Zero. I wonder what that could be. Online trading brokerage, providing direct market access for stocks, options, and crypto. There you go. It is an online brokerage. They've raised... was that 23 million? 231 million. Yeah, that sounds about right. Founded in 2015, so this thing has been around for a while. Did they invest in themselves? Did they have a bunch of money? All right, I want to talk about DApp operating system and intent. So DApp operating system is an AI operating system for Web3 productivity, including marketing, building, interacting, and trading. And let's go check out their website just like we did the other day. So Web3 AI operating system, Dappos, or DApp-POS, right, is a Web3 AI company building a suite of AI products designed to their powerful AI in everyone's hand, to put their powerful AI in everybody's hand without the learning curve of understanding how to do techie stuff like prompting in AI. Stop promoting, start getting results. Xbubbles turns simple requests into finished work through SOP-powered AI agent built and tested by Bubble Engine is kind of their proprietary product here. You'll see it referenced many times. You can download the app right there. We'll hover over that QR code for just a second. Remember, you can always pause the stream to get that QR code. It is not an affiliate. It is directly from their website. The SOP system behind Xbubble. So Xbubble Pilot handles runtime, dispatch, routing, and each task to the best fitted SOP. Bubble Engine continuously generates, tests, and improves the SOP library behind the scenes, turning plain English goals into reliable execution. The big takeaway here, in my opinion, is intent and what it is kind of revolutionized in ChatGPT and all of these different, what do you call those, chat style AIs, right? They've helped productivity. They've constantly upgrading, integrating them with new stuff. This is to take that idea, put it on blockchain. Web3, right? You can't really be Web3 without blockchain. So it's like ChatGPT for blockchain. Combine those together, throw some AI agents in there, and all of a sudden you've got a very powerful workhorse that can do a lot of things for you, depending on what the parameters are that a company like this allows you to do, right? The difference between like ChatGPT and, say, Claude. Yep, I'm just watching. Yeah, me too. I'm waiting for that double up so I can take initials. All right. Let's get back to where we were. There we were. So what else do we want to look at here? What is XST? That looks brand new. XST, XSloot, is a real-world asset market for tokenized AI infrastructure records. It seems very specific. It seems very niched here. Let's see what their description at the bottom is, usually a little bit more in depth. So XSloot is building a marketplace for intelligent platform for AI, for physical AI infrastructure projects, including data centers. This is stuff that lives in the physical, not just online, including data center, power generation, cooling, fiber construction, semiconductors, and security infrastructure. Okay, so it's the real muscle behind everything that goes on online, because all those things need resources, right? You can't just have all this computing power and not have anything to back it up. It just doesn't work that way. Sorry if I seem distracted. I'm just going back between something on my phone trying to keep up with the chat here. So we got a new stablecoin. Let's talk about Creeps, because I saw this the other day. I think this is the same project. It's GameFi, which we love DeFi gaming. It's very interesting and I think somewhat unique, right? Again, another one of these London-based Web3 media blockchain type companies. Let's take a look at their website, though. Is that it? Is it going to load? We looked at their website the other day, and it was way better than this. I don't know what's going on. I was scrolling up and down, clicking, nothing happens. All right. I don't know if they're having an issue, if they changed it, if there's some kind of lore going on here that I'm not understanding. There's a collection of, about 11,000 PFP NFTs, right, on Ethereum blockchain. They have esports and physical products. Before, we were able to actually go on their website and look at their, merchandise and stuff like that. It's very interesting. I could see that stuff in stores and probably doing relatively well. And then the last one here, KaiChain. KaiChain is an app chain building the future of finance in emerging markets, they say. Let's see if they give us a little bit more information. KaiChain represents a groundbreaking evolution in emerging market financial infrastructure. That sounds kind of bullish. I'd have to know a little bit more about it. Combining battle-tested payment technology with next-generation blockchain architecture. That makes a ton of sense. At its core, the project merges two powerful platforms. This HEX, a proven B2B bank-to-bank, I believe that is, payment and trading infrastructure processing over 100 million in transactions with 200 plus corporate clients. So they already got the juice. And KaiChain, an advanced layer 1 blockchain leveraging Cosmos SDK and Comet BTF consensus to deliver institutional grade financial services. It's very interesting because the first thing I want to say here, and this is the kind of reasoning and thinking you might come to this stream for. First thought here is that KaiChain, it represents, they tell you, I'm breaking it down for you, this HEX, which is already a bank-to-bank payment. So they already got the juice with 100 million in transactions and 200 plus corporate clients. So they're not getting out here from day one trying to get people to use their services. They're past that. They've been doing that for a while, it seems like. I mean, to have 200 plus corporate clients, you must have been around for a little while. So then what? They turn around and they build an advanced quote unquote layer 1 blockchain, but they leverage the Cosmos SDK and Comet BTF or BFT consensus. It makes you wonder, why aren't they using Ethereum? Why aren't they using the base ecosystem? Why did they choose Cosmos when Cosmos's ecosystem is relatively dead? They might not care at all if it's dead because they're not looking to interact with a bunch of other things on Cosmos. They're just going to use the technology to do what they're already doing. I'm sure there's a good reason why they're using Cosmos and Comet consensus, but you gotta make these small distinctions and notes, and that's only going to come from raising your crypto IQ day after day after day here with us on the channel, that you could start to paint a picture of why this is important. You probably weren't here when we did a Cosmos ecosystem deep dive, so you're probably not fully understanding the picture I'm trying to give you here. But they've done this to deliver institutional grade financial services. This dual platform approach has already demonstrated significant traction, generating $2 million in annual reoccurring revenue and successfully tokenizing $6.1 billion in assets during a test net, which means when they launch mainnet, probably going to actually tokenize those $6.1 billion. Now, it's the narrative and things that we have to pay attention here. KaiChain might be relevant, might not be relevant. You might be able to buy the token and make some money off of what's going on there. You might not, but understand what's going on. Also, projects like that can come in and keep Cosmos as an ecosystem alive and moving, even if there's nothing for retail to really look at or play as a game or go earn yield on. Like, it can all happen for other people, for big entrenched interests, right? Hopefully you understand what I'm saying there. I'm excited to get to this education though. So first of all, the claim that HEX is better than Bitcoin that Richard Hard makes and is on their website, right? I don't have to pull up a voice clip to say that. It's straight up on their website. Better must have a definition. Also, HEX, if you know where the community mostly lives and talks, you might want to tell the community to update their website to say, 3.125 Bitcoin is minted instead of, 6 point whatever it was before. So better must have a definition. So let's see if we can give better a definition. Before comparing two cryptocurrencies, decide what outcome matters. Is it the strongest base layer security, more predictable scarcity, higher token rewards, easier self-enforced saving, greater liquidity, less dependency on identifiable leaders, right, like founders, higher speculative upside? A product can win one category and lose 5 others. Declaring one universally better hides those trade-offs and may be slightly dishonest if you don't really get into the matter and the other project doesn't actually beat the other one in all the categories. So here's a good example. A savings account may produce more income than physical gold, but that does not make it better at every job that gold performs. It's not going to protect you against a currency going under, right? Just because it performs. So you get what I'm saying? So HEX and Bitcoin occupy different layers, of course. Bitcoin combines 3 things: an independent blockchain, a native monetary asset, and a proof-of-work security system. HEX is very different. It's a smart contract and token. It operates in underlying blockchain. It is time-locking feature determines reward allocation. It does not independently produce or validate blocks. A simple analogy here is that Bitcoin is both the road and the native vehicle. HEX is just a financial application traveling on somebody else's road or somebody else's infrastructure. Now, that does not make HEX invalid. Don't hear me wrong, Hexicans. It means that the comparison must include what the underlying network supplies. Proof of work and proof of weight do different jobs. How many of you have ever heard of proof of weight outside of maybe people who are already into HEX? I would think most people probably haven't. Bitcoin proof of work determines what proposes the next block, right? Making altering confirmed history increasingly expensive, providing resistance against double spending attacks, connects network security to measurable external resources, and rewards miners with block subsidy and transaction fees. HEX proof of weight, on the other hand, rewards users for committing HEX for a chosen period of time, reduces immediately available supply while positions are active. So when you actually lock up HEX, you get T shares. The actual HEX is burned and isn't minted again until it's actually till your stake is up and you go to receive it, right? So uses long commitments to influence the participant's share calculation. So they want you to use these longer commitments because that stuff stays burned longer and the circulating supply is out longer. Applies penalties when commitments and end outside their agreed conditions. So you agree to do it for a long time and you stop it short, or you agree to do it for a short time and you don't ever come back and unstake or call the contract. And of course, HEX does not secure the underlying blockchain. According to Bitcoin developer documentation, full nodes independently validate blocks while mining makes transaction history difficult to modify. Bitcoin Blockchain Guide is where that is from. The key correction here is the fair comparison is Bitcoin's network against Pulse Chain or even Ethereum's network, not Bitcoin against HEX time locking. So hopefully we straighten that out. Bitcoin scarcity versus HEX inflation. Bitcoin has a consensus enforced maximum supply of 21 million BTC. We were just talking about that a minute ago with our kind of comparing tokenomics with Bitcoin and Monero. Bitcoin has a declining block subsidy. New issuance approximately having every approximately 210,000 blocks, and eventually transition towards transaction fee supported mining. HEX, on the other hand, let's check out that chat. I don't want to let it run too far away on me. All right, we are caught up on the chat. If you're just rolling in, please smash that like button for me. And consider subscribing if you haven't subscribed yet. If you haven't got into our free Discord, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please join that free Discord. All right, so HEX has an ongoing inflation capped at approximately 3.69 annually. According to its official documentation, inflation primarily distributed through completed time locks, right? Completed staking, I guess, is what you would say, although it's actually time locking. Additional redistribution from early and late ending penalties. So if you end early or you end late, those penalties are redistributed among the people who didn't do that. They didn't get a penalty. A system designed to favor participants who commit for longer periods. So you lock it up for 10 plus years, you're going to earn more. Bitcoin rewards and the people securing the network. HEX rewards the people restricting access to their tokens, aka locking them up. Strugahart says 333. Welcome in, Strugahart. Good to see you as always. Neither model is free. The question is who receives the new supply and what behavior that issuance purchases. How can 3.69 inflation produce a much higher APY? Use a simplified example here. Everybody lock in. Imagine a token supply of 100 tokens, that would be. The protocol creates 3.69 new tokens. Only 10 of the original tokens are participating in the reward pool. If the 3.69 tokens were distributed across that group, the gross token return would equal 36.9% of the participating amount. That does not mean the system generates 36.9% in outside revenue. That's a distinction you have to understand here. It means inflation affecting the entire supply was concentrated among a smaller participating group. Exact HEX returns also depend on its share system, commitment length, participation, and penalties. An important distinction to make, though, more HEX is not automatically more purchasing power. If someone's token balances rises 40%, while the market price falls 20%, the users gain tokens, they have more tokens in their wallet, but they lost purchasing power or the amount that it's worth in US dollar or whatever other currency they might want to use. Does HEX eliminate counterparty risk? So HEX is a genuine structural advantage here over centralized lending. Users do not need to give their tokens to a lending company. A decentralized borrower does not owe the advertised reward, and a smart contract applies the programmed rules. But eliminating one risk does not eliminate all the risks, right? Users still face smart contract risks, underlying blockchain risks, wallet and private key risk, of course, front-end and user interface risk, market price risk, liquidity risk, and commitment and penalty risk. So you got to manage that risk approximately to the best of your ability, right? The accurate claim is that HEX can remove centralized borrower default risk from its native reward system. Not that it removes risk all around, just that it gets rid of it from its native reward system. Does immutability make HEX more secure, though? Coming down all these different categories, so I hope you're following along. An immutable contract can provide predictable rules. No administrator casually changing the economics when you're not paying attention. Reduced upgrade key risk and continued operation without daily founder involvement. Immutability also creates a trade-off here. A discovered design flaw cannot be patched inside the original contract. Changing users' needs cannot be addressed natively. That's a big one. The contract remains dependent on the continued operation of its underlying chain. An audit does not guarantee that the economics will produce a desirable market outcome. HEX emphasizes its formal audits, while criticizing Bitcoin for lacking a comparable formal audit. But a fixed smart contract and an entire global blockchain network are not identical auditing targets. Audited does not mean invulnerable. Unaudited does not mean unexamined. How's everybody doing out there? Trust me, guys, it's not lost on me that some people tune out with the education. Said it before, this is just as much for me as it is for you. I hope you pay attention. If not, I will benefit from the compounding knowledge and understanding. And you guys see me go stream to stream to stream, just as I was just talking about Cosmos' ecosystem and the deep dives that we've done before when we were on a project that's using Cosmos SDK and Comet SFPT or whatever, consensus. Anyways, the point is we had a lot of knowledge about it because we've been deep diving it. So even if nobody's following along, I'll be right here educating myself and I'll benefit from it. Technical decentralization versus social decentralization. And I am just trying to motivate you a little bit there. Ask 3 questions here. We got technical. Can the code continue operating without Richard Hart? I think the answer is pretty easily yes. The core contract is designed to continue running without his daily involvement. He's not at home sitting hitting buttons on his computer making the system work. Economic though. How concentrated are supply, liquidity, and market influence? This requires reliable wallets, liquidity, and ownership data, not just claims from supporters or critics for that matter. Social, how dependent is the ecosystem's attention and confidence on Richard Hart? Again, Richard Hart is the founder and very public, just like Cardano has Charles, right? With Bitcoin, we don't have a founder to point at, to put on a billboard, to take pictures with at an event or something. You just doesn't exist. HEX may operate without him technically, while still being strongly connected to him socially and economically. Bitcoin has its own concentration concerns though, right? We're not here to pick on HEX, including mining pools and large holders. However, its anonymous founder is disappeared. Its users independently validate rules, and its identity is not built around an active founder. So these are stark contrasts. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying there is a big contrast there. Liquidity is part of the product. Bitcoin's advantages include deep global liquidity, right? Extensive exchange access, institutional custody, regulated investment products, broad merchant and infrastructure recognition, a long operating history. HEX's smaller markets can move more dramatically with less capital, so if you're just looking for price go up, you could be in the right spot. That creates potential upside, but also creates price slippage, more difficult large to exit, right, because of liquidity. If you've tried to pull $1 million out of something, doesn't have the liquidity to do it, you're in trouble. Increased sensitivity to liquidity providers, less reliable headline valuations. Market capitalization is not the amount of money invested into an asset. It is the largest marginal price multiplied by the reported supply. Let's see. The Teflon Dawn says, short answer, yes. Thank you for being here. Smash that like button for me. So Richard Hart is correct that the market cap can be misleading, but the solution is not to ignore it. The solution is to analyze market cap alongside liquidity, volume, market depth, and supply concentration, and the amount that could realistically be sold. The category by category verdict here. We have independent network security. Stronger case, Bitcoin. The reason, operates and secures its own monetary network. Monetary scarcity. Bitcoin has a fixed maximum supply and a declined issuance. Native time lock reward, HEX, purpose-built commitment and reward system. Direct application energy use, HEX is going to win that one all day. Locking doesn't require mining hardware. So if you're big on the energy consumption argument, HEX is a clear winner. Underlying security comparison, not HEX alone. HEX inherits Ethereum or Pulse Chain security. So HEX very much has Ethereum security built in, and Ethereum has good security. Liquidity and adoption, Bitcoin kind of wins there, with deeper markets and broader infrastructure. A founder neutrality, of course, Bitcoin's going to win because we don't really have him as a talking head. Self-enforced long-term commitment. HEX wins that all day long. Tokens can programmatically be unavailable, and for long periods of time, 10 years. Potential upside cannot be objectively scored here. Higher upside generally accompanies higher risk. Universal better money claim is completely unproven, though the system performed materially different jobs. They're not doing the same thing. So as we try to put together kind of a final verdict here, Richard Hart identified a real limitation. Bitcoin does not natively pay holders merely for locking up their BTC. HEX does. HEX created a system specifically around that behavior. If the goal is programmable, time commitment, and token-denominated rewards, HEX offers functionality Bitcoin does not. But Bitcoin's most important job is not to pay the holders in yield. Its primary value proposition is operating as a scarce, independent, censorship-resistant monetary network. That's what Bitcoin was built for. And again, being fair, these things were built at different times for different functions. So therefore, HEX can be better at programmed time locking without being better than Bitcoin. So the phrase works brilliantly as marketing because it compares HEX's strongest features against something Bitcoin was never designed to even do in the first place. The founder's claim audit. Whenever a crypto founder makes a major claim, run it through these 6 questions. What are the exact words? Not a debate and exaggerated and softened version. What did they say exactly? What the product performing the same job? So are the products performing the same job is what I mean. If they're not doing the same thing, you're going to have apples and oranges and you know, which one tastes better, an apple or an orange? That's basically what you're doing. Where does the rewards come from? What trade-off is missing from the sales pitch? What did they maybe conveniently leave out? And what evidence would prove their claim wrong? Applied to tonight's statements. We tried to work all that in for you there. Putting this one together is what has served a little bit challenging this stream because there's a lot of things to take into consideration, and you got to kind of work it until you get what you want for a setup. All right, where do we want to move to now? Let's do our top gainers, top losers. Blockworks is a great place for data. Let's refresh it because it's probably not the right stuff. Probably from yesterday. There we go. Velvet up 35%, and then the next best is 6%. What is our top loser of the day? DXY and Uniswap and Bonk. No idea what's going on with Bonk right now. I know that I think they tried to move networks. I don't know how that's working out for them. Anybody know how that's working out for Bonk right now? Switching networks. Did they abandon that or are they still doing that? Looks like Kitty slowed down a lot. All right, well, we did a lot pretty quickly in an hour. We really ran through that stream. So welcome to the Underground Crypto Hangout part of the night. Again, shout out to Goddle. Let's go check out Goddle. So we've been mining. Oh, did I never hit deploy? Really great mining rate right now. That's for sure. Let's go look at Rush. Did anybody win? Nope. Nobody still won the Rush. I think it was about $200 yesterday, and right now we are at $574. A shovel costs you $2.60, and I've already made, let's see, I spent $246, probably about $5, maybe slightly over $5, and in dividends I've made back $1.43. So we're moving there. If this can go the distance, I could even make a little bit of money off shovels. Don't forget, I did get the opportunity to win, even if I didn't win. I do very much like that mining rate, though. Let's go ahead and approve some mining here. I think we did pretty good. I think we hit one of them where the mother load for Goddle came out, and I think we actually won quite a bit of Goddle for the very little bit of money that we put in. That was pretty great. And what else do we want to talk about? At this point, I usually just go into whatever DeFi gaming I want, and we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Gotta feed these chickens. These chickens are very hungry. They eat a lot of food over here on Sunflower Land. If you like DeFi gaming, or you've never even tried some DeFi gaming, check out Sunflower Land. And we got a couple other for you. We got Kindra. We got Lumina. We got some DeFi games that are really, really doing pretty well. We got Chainers. Let's go to Chainers real quick, because we always do Chainers live on stream usually. Been waiting for a dip in that August 12th Eclipse coin all day, and I'm just not getting it. All right, here we are over at Chainers, taking the idea of having a little passive farm here and making it gamified like they all said they would, but Chainers the only people who I've seen actually do it. So J-Dub says, dang, I wish I had more time on my hands. You're tapped into some interesting stuff. Hey, I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you being here. Obviously, if you got something to do, no hard feelings. But we always will be looking for you in the chat. And I hope to see you on tomorrow's stream. And, of course, anything you ever want me to look into, I don't say this enough. And we do a members-only stream that is really all about that. But whatever you want to look into, you can ask me about a coin. You can ask me about its market cap. You can ask me whatever you want, and I'll do my best to give you the best answer that I possibly can. I don't know what more I could promise you. I promise that I'll take the time to do my best to address it. And you're not going to get that from huge channels. They're just not going to address you personally. Without a super chat, of course. Ooh, Kumar says, what is the best coin to buy now? Well, if you would believe it, I don't give any financial advice. All right, so telling you what the best coin to buy now is probably not going to work out in the long term. Not just legal things about being a financial advisor. That's not what it's all about. There's risk tolerance. If I gave you a coin that had high potential of making money, but it didn't make you money and it lost you money, would you be mad at me? Would you take accountability for the risk that you should have knowingly walked into? There's that. And then there's, I could give you a coin that could do really well. I look at tokenomics. It's better that I kind of teach you how to fish here than to simply give you a coin. And Kumar, I believe that you did get a coin from one of my videos, and that would be Lab. And it sounds like you did really well on that one. LOOO-ZO. Welcome in, welcome in. I love to see that name in the chat. Thanks for stopping by. Smash that like button for me. And I hope you got some time to hang out. So, tokenomics. If you understand tokenomics, well, we're going to go into it for a minute. Because, you guys are far more important than whatever I was going to do in some DeFi gaming. Let's go talk about a couple of different things. And I'm using Gnosis as an example here. Tokenomics, max supply, 3 million. Now, I've seen lower supplies, but 3 million is pretty good. You got to think of what Bitcoin's done. It's at 21 million. But if you know tokenomics and you know how to get to this number, $103.76. How did they come up with that? Did they just wake up today and decide that, like the price of gold? I mean, oh wait, no wait. Did I say that out loud? Anyways, you take the circulating supply, 2.64, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, there's a certain foundation over in London that wakes up every day and decides what the price of gold is. Circulating supply, 2.6 million. And the market cap is 273 million. So if you take 273.89 million and divide it, sorry, let me say that the other way around. If you take 2.64 million and divide it by market cap, circulating supply divided by market, I made that really confusing, I'm really sorry. Circulating supply divided by the market cap will give you the price per unit. That's basic tokenomics. Now, you have a circulating supply. That's the first thing to understand. Second thing to understand is circulating supply is what is out now. Max supply is what could be created forever in the lifetime of the project. Just like 21 million for BTC. And so what I really want to say here is that the max number is really important. You will see some projects like Monero say infinite. They don't have a capped max supply. That makes me extremely nervous. Because what's to stop them from just mining a bunch of coins at some point? I don't know. How is it actually set up? It becomes far more confusing. A00 with that respect emoji. I love that. Thanks for showing off those custom emojis. If you want some custom emojis, get that $2.99 a month membership. $3. I'll just say $3 membership. I built those emojis myself. Pretty proud of them. I'd never done that before. And I'd love to make some more, but YouTube won't let me. They've capped me. I don't understand it, but I'll look at it again. They're changing stuff all the time. Anyway, so that's tokenomics. Let's go look at another one. Let's look at another one that might have some great tokenomics. This is Clanker, TokenBot. Now, I'm not saying these projects will run because great tokenomics doesn't mean people are going to come in and buy any. It just doesn't. But this one has 1 million. So we went from a 3 million max supply to a 1 million. All right. So you need a lot less money to move it. Now, notice the price is way less. Why is the price way less? Because there's only 12 million in this project. It's not that big of a project. And the circulating supply is under a million. Has to be, obviously, because max supply is under a million. So let's move on to another project. Now, this is a gaming coin, DeFi gaming coin, right? 500,000. So we went from 3 million to a million to 500,000. And of course, circulating supply is going to be under that. So the circulating supply is even less than that, 342. So if you take 588,000, it has less than $1 million in it. And if you take that number and divide it by its circulating supply, you will get $1.72. This is sauce because a project, and we've seen this, your favorite coin that you're in that's so great in technology and all these things, it's probably in the top 50 crypto coins by market cap, and the price just never really does anything. Well, that's because you're always fighting the new coins coming into circulation versus how much money is going in and out of the market cap. So a great project with a great leader, a great vision, a great this, that, and the other with terrible tokenomics can just sit around and do nothing for your money, right? You put money in it and all it ever does is go down. Could be a great project. It could revolutionize the world. It could bank the unbanked. It could provide all kinds of crazy stuff, but never make you $1. That's why we have to be focused here. We have to be focused on what's going to move the needle and why are you in crypto? If you're just here to invest in the best technology that's going to revolutionize the world, well, then do that. And I'm sure over a long enough period of time, I'm relatively confident you're going to make $1. Will you double it? Are you cool with just doubling your money in 10 years? I don't know. I would say if you're already rich and you have $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars, you're probably pretty cool with just doubling your money in a safe way over the next 10 years. That probably doesn't sound too bad, but for the rest of us, I think most of us would like to do a little bit more than, a 100% increase, a 2x in, 10 years. We'd like to do a lot more than that. So then you're going to need good tokenomics. So the point here is when you ask me what's a good coin to buy, it's a super loaded question. It's not an easy question. I've given you some examples, but you got to know what these are. For example, this Lumina coin. I'll show you exactly what it is. It's a Pokemon remake called Lumina. And we usually get into the underground hangout here where we play games. So it's very fitting, but I just want to show that this is a gaming coin. This could do really well. It could do really terribly. All right, DeFi gaming is not the hottest thing. This game is relatively fun to watch and play. If you're old school and you've been around since the days of Pokemon, then you get it. And old heads are going to love this thing. But it doesn't need to attract much attention. And you would be in really early. The tokenomics can really work in your advantage with not so much downside. And I do also want to point out, if you hold more than 10 lumen, You get like a reward every day. So there's a high incentive. What's the point of that? There's a high incentive for people to hold at least 10 of these. So that's good for not necessarily having people sell off all their bags all the time. So you want incentivization within the project as well. So those are just some different examples. I want to retire in 2026 December. $500 million net worth is around $10 million. I want to retire in 2026 December. Okay, with $500 million. And you're saying right now, I assume what you're saying, because you said net worth is around 10 million. I assume you mean right now your net worth is worth 10 million. Mr. Creek says CC Canton. My age is 16. Kumar, you're 16 years old and you have $10 million? If that's facts, then well done. I wouldn't stress so hard, Kumar. If you're 16 years old and you live, I'm assuming in India that you said earlier, and you have $10 million, I would not be stressing about retiring right this second. Of course, everybody wants to retire. Most people retire, it's right in the word, because they're tired. If you're not tired, maybe you don't need to retire. And then retire from what? If you have $10 million, what are you doing all day, every day that's so hard that you need to retire from? These are just me thinking out loud. But what I'd say, you know, other than that, is if you have $10 million and you're 16, you probably have a little bit more tolerance for risk than your average person who's already lived 50% of their life. Maybe they're 40, they're only going to live to 80. Maybe they're 50 and they think they'll live to 100. Whatever it is, you have a lot more time to make up whatever you lose. Remember, you can get more money, you can't get more time. On the other hand, if you've been that successful so far, yeah, current net worth is 10 million. I'd also say this. If you've been that successful in your life this far, you're 16 with $10 million, I would think, if I were you, because I can't give you financial advice, I would think if I were you, I would try to protect some of that and don't go too hard, because you might wind up being 17 with $1 million. That's going to hit way different. It's one thing, and this is just something that I think, it's one thing when you have the money to think like, I got to get more. When you significantly have less money than you used to have, you're going to think, crap, if I could just have what I used to have. They say you don't know what you got until it's gone. So your risk tolerance is probably higher. Probably don't want to put 90% of your net worth. I'd hate to see you lose something like 90% of your net worth or more trying to get to 500 million when plenty of people don't have $1 million and you got 10. You get my point? Hopefully you get my point. So it's all about risk management and how hard you're really trying to go. And a different thing that I haven't talked about in a long time, which is categories, right? And sectors. Like, do you think AI is the winner? You think a new social media is the winner? Obviously, I would think that you wouldn't just pick one category. You'd spread yourself between a few. You can under diversify and you can over diversify. So, I mean, you don't want to buy too many different things, because if one goes up, you won't make any money. And you don't want to buy too little things, because, you know, if you buy only Bitcoin, which is, I guess, maybe not the worst thing, but you might not get the multiples that you're looking for. So there's a lot of things to consider there. You're not playing around. If you got 10 million bucks, say you were willing to put 2 or 3 million into the market, I wouldn't play around and just go based off of what some YouTuber says. I'd really buckle in and I'd do my research. I'd raise my crypto IQ as high as I possibly could, as quick as I possibly could, and I would try to figure out where's the value, where does it come from, and who's pouring into the market. Because it's one thing to play around with $10,000 and lose it, or turn $10,000 into $8,000 and walk away with a little $2,000 loss or something like that. Not such a big deal for the most person. It still sting a little bit, but for the most person, not so bad. To lose millions of dollars when you had it, that can be unreplaceable for a lot of people in their lifetime. I just want to make sure that's not lost on you. Because some people make money quick and they don't realize they might not be able to do it again over and over and over and over. But good for you. Flat Smack says, I would never listen to a YouTuber. Hey, good for you, man. I do very much agree with you. Flat Smack, I don't know if you've been here for very long, but this is not a channel where I sit here and tell you what to do, because I don't have financial advice. We just try to research projects, founders, all kinds of different things. We pick a different topic every week and we just try to research and get facts, just data, not coming through a filter of me telling you whether it's good data or not. Of course, I'll share my opinion here and there. What's the point of even being here if I can't say my opinion? But that doesn't mean you have to take it as canon or as fact, I guess. Some people might not know what canon is. Anyways, shout out to FlatSmack420 for coming through. Smash that like button for me. And Mr. Creek says Canton. I would really like to go look at Canton Networks. We do kind of play DeFi games during the Underground Hangout part of the show. Just trying to extend it. I could just end the stream, right? As soon as we hit the end of our education. But I want to give you guys a little bit more value than that. Oh, yeah, I wanted to go to Canton. I was like, what are we doing? Said, that's cool. My first time here. Hey, well, I appreciate that. There's a link to our free Discord if you kind of want to figure out what we're about when we're not live streaming. Also, if you could smash that like button, I'd really appreciate it. But we just do education. I do a very different show than most people. A lot of people come to this stream and they're like they're expecting somebody to sit up here and tell them their top 10 coin picks of the day. A lot of that stuff is shilling. A lot of that stuff is influenced by money they got from projects and stuff. We just don't do that here. That's not what I'm into. We are into educating. Obviously, we did a series last week on HEX, Pulse Chain, T-shares, time walking that goes with HEX, and of course the Pulse X, which is like the DEX or the pancake swap or the Uniswap of Pulse Chain. And so we broke a lot of that stuff down just so we understand it. I believe that you can become a better speculator in this market by simply just understanding things like definitions of words that are big, like interoperability. You might not know what that means coming in and walking into this market. Stuff like that, paired with researching projects. Tokenomics is something I talk about a lot. We were just going over. So we're just here to educate you and do it as a community and a group. And more than that, the reason to stay. So I told you what we did, but what's the reason to stick around? The reason to stick around is that I would like people who are into whatever they're into. Whether you're into finding the best yields on staking or meme coins as soon as they launch that do 1,000,000%, whatever you're into. We want you around because you take your knowledge, you bring it to the community. Other people who are into totally different things bring their knowledge. And when they spot an opportunity, they show you. And when you spot an opportunity, and we just collectively build, because none of us have the time to go into every single category, learn all of it, and stay on top of it. That's the harder part. Stay on top of it every day in such a fast-moving market. We need a community of people doing different things, progressively building their skill and getting better and better so that we all can benefit from each other. Haven't said that in a long time. First thing, I don't like that there's no max supply on Canton Network. Tokenomics, difficult. It's not automatically bad, because again, they could have a max supply infinite technically on paper and never issue another coin for the rest of the project's life. I don't know what their issuance rate is or the rate in which they issue new tokens. But I do know the circulating supply is 39.3 billion and they have 3.9 billion in the market cap. So you could do the math there and you would get about 10 cents per unit. Let's see. Kumar says, if you make the money that the YouTuber, research yourself and buy. Again, I'm just really happy to hear, Kumar, that you got into Lab when I made that reel. Again, I didn't tell anybody to buy it. I just made fact about it. You chose to buy it. And I'm sure you did really well. You sold it when it was up at like $20. Good for you. Because sometimes selling can be the hardest, because you look at it and you're like, well, what if it goes to $40? And you think stuff like that, and then it goes to $10, and you're like, oh, I'll wait for it to go back to 20, and I'll sell this time, I swear. And then it goes to $5, and then it goes to what, and you never sold it. So you never actually realized that gain. Good on you for actually selling at 20 bucks. And yeah, I love to see new names in the chat. I love to see new people here. Mr. Creek, are you still with us? He said, CC Canton, can you give me some direction if you're still here on what you want me to look at? I kind of just generally looked at it. It's a big project. It's number 24 by market cap. We talk about the price of it every single day at the beginning of the stream as we look at the top, 30 coins in crypto every day and their price associated with their percentage pumps or dumps. November 9th, 2025 token generation event. I remember when this coin came out. I've been in crypto at least long enough for that. And they have a huge market cap. So to double your money here, I mean, you're talking about another 3.9 billion. The kind of crutch of that, it might sound like a lot of money, but a big project with 3.9 billion can probably attract another 3.9 billion, or just say 4 billion for ease. For ease here. I'd love to do a deep dive of Canton for whatever you would like, Mr. Creek, if you are still here. Mr. The Creek. I swear I've seen that name before. I believe you've been to our channel before. But if you're not here, we're just going to move on and get back to Chainers. And Chainers here, we just take everything that we grow and we go to BNB and we basically sell it all on their little market for BNB, and we just stack some BNB over and over. There's a link in the Discord, or in the description. There is a link in the Discord, but you don't need to go to the Discord for that. There's a link in the description. It is affiliate, but I only get anything if you buy things with USDT in the shop. It's the only way I get anything out of it. Some people are so terrified that somebody might get paid something for them clicking on a link and doing something. You could just go to the website yourself and make sure that nobody gets anything, but that doesn't help you any. If you go through my link, you might get some free stuff. I really need corn seed, but I need it to be denominated in CFB, the in-game currency, not Tether, because I don't have Polygon Tether in this wallet. All right, I don't know how long we were out, and I will, I guess, never understand why the mic just randomly cuts out. As a matter of fact, when I'm not live streaming, I use the mic for things like voice to chat and stuff like that. And I always have to make sure that it's working. Thank you, Struggerheart. Thank you, Melissa. I'm glad that you're able to just kind of text me and let me know, because sometimes I'm not paying attention to the chat. And I have no idea where I was or what I was saying. I think I was just saying, anytime you're dealing with anything, make sure that you go to whatever it is and you know what network you're supposed to be on before you try to buy and send anything. Who knows where I was and what I was saying? It's probably not worth trying to figure out. and then go hit that mini game. Again, if there's something you want to talk about, let me know. I love a little bit of direction from the audience because I could sit up here and talk forever about a lot of different things. It's not hard for me to do. But I would like to dial into maybe what you're interested in. Don't turn into exit liquidity. That is always good advice. And they say, don't risk more than you can afford to lose. It was kind of what I was trying to say to Kumar. Is, when you got a little bit, it feels great. You feel like, I can throw this, money here and there and I might make a great return. But just don't forget that you can absolutely lose it. Now, losing money when you're 16 is very different than losing money when you're 45. Not that I'm 45, so I wouldn't know. But the older you get, the less time you have to make it back. So you got to protect it a little bit more. Although I'm not sure what you did to make $10 million. And I'm taking you at your word, right? Until proven otherwise. If you're here lying, then it doesn't matter to me at all. But assuming that you are on the up and up, whatever you did to make $10 million, is it repeatable? Do you have a business where you're just raking in the dough year after year? Maybe you're a YouTuber or something like that. Maybe you're a famous YouTuber. If you are, shout out my channel. I would really appreciate that. But anyways, I really just hope that you manage it well, and I really hope that you turn that 10 into 500. That would be amazing. In this next bull market, when we all get rich, we'll all fly, private jets and have a big hangout. How about that? Sounds like a great payoff. And everybody's measure of rich is different. Country of origin can be a big deal as well. Somebody might be like, to be rich is to buy a giant mansion in the hills, in the woods, away from everybody, and have maids and, electricity, running power, all the amenities, and just be super rich. And what that costs to have in one country might be really different. In one country, you might be able to do that with $1 million and not only build the house and live lavishly, but also maintain it and have money for food and all that into the future. In another country, it might cost you $30 million to do that. So success is totally different. Even though we're talking US dollars, it depends on where you live. I believe Costa Rica is a pretty good place to go and get your money, or it used to be. I don't know if it still is. Happens is when a bunch of US dollar flocks to a country, everything goes up. But if you go live somewhere where they don't have a lot of US dollar, a lot of times it's because safety is a concern. It's a crazy world out there, guys. I'll tell you that much. All right, we are well past the 1,000 that I need. I'm just kind of crashing out here. Let's let them take us out, get our free item, and go to a game that's more fun. That's designed to be played longer. My rich is pay off all my bills, have a nice car and home, and never have to work again. I think you're not far off from what most people are looking for. And I gotta say, I'm very entrepreneurial. I don't know how you're supposed to say that word. That's terrible. I do know how it's supposed to say it. I just can't do it at this moment in time. Why am I hyper focusing on it? Because I think it's funny. Anyways, I would probably still be trying to make more money and run businesses and do this, but I would put aside a certain amount that I would have that. Just not really, $3-4 million. I could probably live off of that. Put that aside. And if there's excess, then go do whatever with it, right? But I'd make sure I was set up first. Put it somewhere nice and safe and secure. Earn a little bit of yield off of it. Because you get $3, $4, $5 million. This is one thing to think about. The rich, a lot of times, they don't take the big risks with their money. They just take what Kumar was saying. He's got, he says he's got $10 million. What is 10% of $10 million? pretty sure it's $1 million. Oh, wait, 10%. Yeah. Anyways, you have the 10%, and you just go live off of that. But you don't touch the money. You still have $10 million. But if you can get 10% return on your money through something that's relatively strong, even if you got 5%, I'm pretty sure right now on Coinbase, they will guarantee you up to a certain amount of money, like protected, and you can go stake with them super probably low risk. Maybe you can secure it through some different things. Get some insurance on your money kind of thing at a higher rate. Maybe somebody sells that product. That would be pretty cool. But anyways, if you can get even 5%, that's $500,000 a year. You're not going to double your money like in a couple of years, but you could probably live an extravagant life and never really worry about money ever again. So everybody's got different ideas. And we are rolling into an hour and 40 minutes of streaming here. So I don't know how much longer I'll be live. But we'll be back again. Yep, the rich live off the interest, I would say, for the most part. And also the rich usually have businesses that produce high income. That's another really big part of it. So they can make a lot of money, put it in, earn a little bit of interest, make more money, put it in, earn interest. And what they're spending is like a drop in the bucket to what they make. I mean, look at Jeff Bezos. What do you think Jeff Bezos makes a year? I think people are giving him, I don't remember how much it was. He spent like $1 billion on his wedding or something like that, and everybody was freaking out about it. It might have been $20 billion. I don't freaking know. But what does he make a year? And again, maybe it was 100 million. I don't remember, but it was a lot of money to the average person. And of course, everybody's freaking out about it. He's got money. Let him do what he wants. At some point, you have so much money that like you need to spend it on something. You're gonna be dead at some point. It's hard to spend that much money, right? The difference between 100 million and 1 billion. It's a lot. Well, everybody have a good night. I'm going to go ahead and hop off. The stream went, I think, extremely well. I got to see a lot of new names in the chat. It's like saying I see a lot of new faces, even though I don't see anybody's faces. I just see names in the chat. But I appreciate everybody who came through. And Kumar saying he got into lab really early because of my video makes me just super happy. So that kind of made my night. Shout out to Kumar. Thank you for being here. And shout out to being 16 with $10 million. Like, I love to hear you're doing well for yourself. I don't know what it's like to be in India, but I don't see a lot of people with that kind of money at that age from India. So well done, well done. And again, shout out to all the undergrounders. Have a great night. Hit me up in the Discord if there's anything you want to go over. Struggle Heart says it was a good stream. Thanks again. Later, everyone. Later, have a great night. And I'll see you tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Today's only Tuesday? Man, it feels like it's Friday or Thursday into the week vibes, but it's the beginning of the week vibes. When you don't work a traditional 9 to 5, it's hard to keep it straight. For me, it's all the same. Every day is pretty much all the same. So have a great night, and I will see you in the next stream, which will be Wednesday stream. Which, just so you guys know, Wednesday stream is always a little bit slow. I don't know where you guys are, but if you can make a point to come to the Wednesday stream, hey, that would be all right with me. Stay underground, stay crypto, think long term, raise that crypto IQ. It's going to matter long term. Be the best speculator you can be, and I will see you in the next episode. Underground Crypto out.